Your ego doesn't want to buy into simple or easy. God forbid abundance is just there for us and we don't have to greatly sacrifice ourselves for it. Your ego will manipulate you into believing everything you desire is going to be hard, painful, take up so much time, energy, and money. You're going to have to make a big trade of not being with your family, not being able to give yourself self-care, not be able to go on vacations, not be able to enjoy wine at the end of the night with your partner because you'll be working 12 hours a day. Then you will stay exactly where you're at right now, which feels in a sick way safe to you. Because it's what you know, it's familiar, even if you don't like it. In order to have the money, the love, the support, the fulfillment, the lifestyle, the business you desire, boss level change is required. And you formed a belief that these changes will require you to do stuff that doesn't sound fun. And this is why you're stuck in resistance. So let me ask you this. If you knew the actions required to grow your business to 5 and 6 figure months were going to be mostly exciting, fulfilling, energizing, and you wouldn't have to sacrifice time with yourself or your family or your health, would you prioritize doing what it takes right now, even with all the fear feelings? Your inaccurate and unfounded beliefs are keeping you in such a high state of resistance that it's blocking your abundance. The key here is to challenge those beliefs with love and compassion. So this is where I came up with my ABC technique. So I use it on myself and my clients to get out of that fear spiral and back into the abundance zone. So this is perfect timing to do this exercise with me live here on the podcast before the new year. And it's also designed for you to come back to this episode again and again when you fall back into that fear spiral, because that's inevitable. That's going to happen. No one's in the abundance zone all the time. Our goal is to be disciplined and take strategic and conscious actions every single day so that we spend the most time possible in the abundance zone energetically, physically, and mentally. But you're a human being and you are automatically wired and designed to flip into fear mode, because that's where we feel like we're safe. That's where we feel we're protecting ourselves. It actually feels more vulnerable to be in a state of abundance. So that's why you're going to need to come back to this. And you can also download my Your Season of Abundance guided walking meditation series. If you haven't done that yet, it's in the show notes. I don't know what to do with you if you've not done that, and you need to share it with every single person you know. Otherwise, guess what? You won't change, you won't grow, you won't take unfamiliar and uncomfortable actions, and 2023 will be another year you don't achieve the dream life that you want for yourself. And I won't allow that on my watch. If you're tired of hearing the same old basic mindset and motivational fluff talk, you've come to the right show. Welcome to Project Me with Tiffany Carter, the podcast, where we dish on everything from managing that crazy brain of yours to manifesting abundance to my straightforward, actionable steps that will make you major money online. Now, I'm not your typical multimillionaire entrepreneur. It takes a small village to keep my anxiety and depression in check. I'm inherently disorganized with an intense obsession with office supplies. Your girl here is a digital marketing content expert who's generated over $200 million in sales. I promise by tuning in twice a week, you will get a much needed refreshing dose of truth, clarity, and cash making advice. Now let's get to it. What up, my people, my posse, my fellow crazies? I'm your host, Tiffany Carter, and let's go through my proven ABC technique that has helped millions of people release fear in just minutes. So this is designed to shift you out of a fear spiral and back into abundance. I'm going to use one of the most common fear thought patterns just from my accumulation of clients, people in my famous posse membership, you guys, my great listeners who DM me episode ideas, feedback on the shows, questions after the shows, email us. Please keep those coming. I read literally every single one of them. So I'm going to pick that main thought, but you can replace these thoughts, these fears, the constants that are swirling in your brain with everything. I just have to pick one for this exercise. And this is designed, again, for this to happen very quickly. And I have it ABCs because you can't forget that. So it's an acronym. So you can go, okay, I'm going to do the ABC thing that Tiffany taught me. I've also created a carousel post on Instagram that's there right now for you. So you can go in there and save that, where I've broken it down, just so if you're like, okay, I forgot what they are. And you can, of course, make sure you bookmark this episode and share this episode with anyone and everyone you know. It's life-changing, whether someone's an entrepreneur or not. It doesn't matter. We all have fear. Just those of us who are going after things on our own in the world of business, we just have an extra dose of crazy. I mean, this is not normal. And I need to say this. We forget how not normal it is to pursue making money off of our passion, whether that is art, whether those are products, whether those are services, whether that's knowledge of yours or it's your love of travel. It doesn't matter. This is not normal, but we end up consuming content, reading books, listening to podcasts, watching documentaries of other inventors, creators, business people, because that's what we're interested in. So we assume like everyone's doing this thing. No, they are not. We are not normal. You have to be somewhat off your rocker to be doing this, and it's in a good way. So you're going to have an extra dose of mental crazy that you have to manage when you are being called and led to do bigger things and make bigger change and impact in the world. It's just something that comes with it. Okay, let's start with the A. The A is acknowledge. Acknowledge the fear response you're having with compassion and love. So here's an example. I know you're scared this won't work and you'll lose everything, being forced to go back and work for someone else again. I hear you and understand you. I know you've spent so much money already. Nothing feels like it's working. Nothing's happening fast enough. And everyone around you is starting to doubt you, and you're even doubting yourself. And you can't keep this up because it just feels like you're draining so much money, and emotionally it's exhausting, and you're feeling defeated. And I understand, and it makes sense why you're feeling that way. So you have to speak to that fear response with that kind of love and compassion, and let yourself know, like, I understand where this is coming from. This makes sense. So speak to it as how you would speak to a child who's really scared, scared to get on an airplane, scared to go to their first day of school. And talk yourself through it, because that's really who's scared, is that inner child within you. But you need to speak to yourself like this. I prefer if you do it out loud, but I do it in my head sometimes. Before I go on stage, I get about sometimes of major stage fright. It's not all the time, but sometimes it happens. So I'll do it in my head. It's okay. We're safe. It's understandable that you're nervous and you're scared because you want to do a great job and you feel a lot of pressure, and it makes a lot of sense, and it's going to be okay. When we come at our fears with, buckle up, sweetie, get over yourself, you're being lazy, time to get to it, what's wrong with you? God, what's your problem? So many other people are doing it. That's abusive. That's self-abuse. And we need to stop that. That's not going to work. So it's important we validate instead of dismiss our feelings. Otherwise, we're performing emotional abuse on ourselves. Feeling heard will instantly start calming your nervous system out of that fear response. Okay, so the next thing in the B is be in your feelings. So this one's really easy to remember. So we have acknowledge, and now it's be in your feelings. It's a natural human response to want to flee, escape, and dissociate from uncomfortable and painful thoughts. Your brain and even other people will try to convince you to go take a break, get your mind off things. Oh, why don't you go do something else? Maybe you should go back to your corporate job. You seem so much less stressed when you were doing that. Maybe you shouldn't go and launch this thing. If you're that worried about spending money and hiring Tiffany as your coach, maybe you should hold off and just not do it. This normally comes after you're like pouring your heart out and venting and expressing yourself. And the other person is so uncomfortable for you that their own ego is being projected back on you and just wanting you, okay, let's bring them back to being safe because they're uncomfortable. They're uncomfortable. So let's make it safe. Let's go back to the status quo. Well, honey, the status quo ain't going to get you that bag, okay? The status quo ain't going to get you a beach house. The status quo isn't going to get you 5-star first-class trips around the world. The status quo is not going to get your kids in private school. The status quo is not going to get you off the hamster wheel. The status quo is not going to get you making passive income so you can luxuriate more. Just saying. So it's going to try to convince you to do this, and it's very seductive in how it does it. Could say like, oh, I'm tired. I'm not really feeling motivated. I'm not inspired today. I'm not feeling that great today. I'll do it tomorrow, or do it Monday, or I'll do it in the new year. And let's go. We can just enjoy the holidays and like do it later and later. And then that never comes. It's a temporary fix, a very temporary fix that backfires. What works is being in your feelings of that fear, of that doubt, of that, oh my God, this is a scary thing I'm doing. What if everyone thinks I'm a dick? What if no one buys? What if I make a fool of myself? What if I look awkward? What are the people going to think who I used to work with in corporate America? What are people going to think who are in my family? What if this doesn't work? All this stuff. I need you to sit in the dirty diaper of those feelings. There is no way to move and process pain except going through it. And it's not going to last as long as you think. And I'm not saying you wallow in it for days. That's not going to be necessary. Your brain's going to convince you that is the case. I'd rather you sit and talk to a therapist about it. Reach out to a coach. Send me a DM. I love when you guys do that, or reply to one of my emails. That's why in my email list, the emails that come out, those emails are from me, written to you, and they're designed to get you back into the abundance zone and to speak to all these things. So if you're not on my email list, I don't know what's going on with you. It's exclusive content. That link's also in the show notes. You can swipe up. It's my Secret Posse weekly digest. So take a bath. Go for a walk. You can multitask, but not where you're dissociating. So I don't want you like cooking dinner, doing laundry, and listening to a podcast. I don't want you scrolling. I don't want you getting involved in other people's problems or drama. I don't want you Netflixing. I don't want you doing any of that. Be in those feelings. You got to take that contrary action to what your ego and what even your body wants you to do, which is abort, distract, avoid, drink wine, eat, a bag of hints of lime Tostitos. And yes, I'm still off those, for those of you who know that. And I've not had white cheddar popcorn, although I am expecting some clients to be sending me some tins of popcorn. I'm just saying we're back on the ice cream, just FYI. Okay. The C in the ABCs is create an abundance management plan. What we don't manage ends up unraveling and falling apart. Consciously create and incorporate routines and actions that support staying in the abundance zone, because what we focus our attention on grows. So if we focus on the scarcity, if we focus on the fear, if we focus on the self-doubt, if we focus on the what ifs, that only grows into a giant, unmanageable snowball that ends up paralyzing you into procrastination and inaction. So if we focus on what is possible, how it can work, why we are capable of doing this, why it is possible for us, why it is highly likely for us to succeed, those thoughts and those feelings will expand. And you're still going to have the other ones come up, but don't you owe it to yourself to at least give it like equal attention and energy? I think so. I think that would be fair. So some examples of setting up an abundance management plan. I also create an abundance management team. This is why I opened my winter applications for my exclusive 2-month private business coaching program now versus in the new year, because we start our sessions in the new year, but I want you to apply now, take action now. We can do if your application I feel is a good fit, we can get on an application call and make absolutely sure this is the best move right now for where you're at in your business and where you want to grow. But now you've taken an action that you're going to have in place, that you're stacking the odds in your favor of success. Or are you just setting yourself up to have more of the same results? It's one or the other. There really is not much neutral. Maybe I could say there's some pausing that would be neutral, but really it's one or the other. And you have to do these things. This is my number one thing I do at the end of the year. I don't just set intentions. I don't just make vision boards. I don't just put stuff out there. I attach actions to it and money to it because that's what makes me show up. That's what makes me do the thing. It's more so money when it's tied to an actual person. If I put money on the line and it's enough money, I'm going to make damn sure I don't waste that money and show up, because money is energy, and then my energy is going to match the amount of money I put in. But if I just I bought something recently and I don't even know why I bought it. Probably the person was a good marketer. It was kind of interesting. It was $297. And I don't have anything that's against programs that are that price, but I bought it 3 weeks ago. Do you think I've looked at it? There wasn't a high enough energy or charge or amount of money that moved me into accountability to doing anything with that and following through. So you have to see what your own threshold is. That application link is in the show notes. You can swipe up for that. I think there's only 4 spots left. I only take a maximum of 6 people at a time. So you're not going to want to procrastinate on this. And yes, I work with both new entrepreneurs just starting out at 0, all the way to established entrepreneurs who are wanting to scale to high 5 and 6-figure months. So they want to get into the multi-millions. It's a different strategy to get from 300,000 a year to millions a year, but you use the same applications. I like keeping things simple. So I want you to let me know how this ABC technique is working for you. And how about you keep yourself accountable with this? Why don't you type in your notes app or even share it on Instagram and tag me? Share what your new abundance plan is going to be. And you don't have to wait till 2023 to start it. You can start it right now. Why do we need to wait? Now you're sending a signal to the universe that we're waiting for our abundance, that we start this now. So what are some things that you can do to help you keep in the abundance zone? Are they abundance walks? What actions are you taking? Did you apply to work with me? Are you inside my posse? Are you committing to reading certain things every single day? Prayer? What is the deal? What are you going to do to give that brain of yours equal opportunity to focus on the possibility, the potential, the what if it does work out? What if it does work better than expected? What is the life I want to create? And it gets to be easy. It gets to be fun. It isn't sacrificing. In fact, it brings me more energy. It brings me more support. It attracts more love. It attracts more abundance. At the very least, you need to give those thoughts equal attention. Like I said, what we focus on grows. And I want the best for you right now and in 2023, and we're going to get it. Wishing you great health, wealth, and worth as always. Love you. If you enjoyed this podcast, please write a 5-star review on iTunes. Not only will this make me super happy, but it will allow more listeners to find our special show. Simply help me help others.